So, my friends, our topic is ignorance to wisdom. But before that, we covered the topic hammer the delusion. So, fundamentally, in this text, in this master is teaching that how we should hammer the delusion, why to reach to the highest state of consciousness. What is that? It is permanent peace, happiness, love, truth, and wisdom. But why to get it? That is what we are looking for since our birth. Not only the animals, but we humans, only the humans have the intellect, and the intellect can make a choice. So fundamentally, it is again hammering the delusion, then ignorance to wisdom, and then awakening and realization. That is what is happening. And we have reached to a state where we have realized and experienced the changes in our life, in our behavior, in our attitude in these years. So now is the time has come to apply this wisdom in everyday life. But how to apply that wisdom in everyday life? By thinking, speaking, and responding, and acting and working in your daily life. But there is a caveat. My master, my master said, once a seeker, always a seeker. He used to say us that, no, you think that I'm your teacher, but I'm still a seeker. How come you have reached to that state? Can you think of it? So he used to say that, that that real self is infinite, all pervading. So there are still ways to express that real self with you. So he used to say that I'm sharing this wisdom, but I'm sharing this wisdom. How? My goal is still the evolution, rise in consciousness. Can I express this infinite real self in one more ways? So, what is the main message? That don't try to be a teacher to anyone. Don't try to be a bossy. You can be a boss in your organization if you are it, but never do it. Never position yourself as a teacher. Or if some people say, let them say. Appreciate, acknowledge them. But share the wisdom with others through your actions, through your thought, through your speech and examples. If you do that, I think majority of the people will love to be with you. And then they may join. If you tell them, they may join the program also. So what is the basic thing? That we have to change our language and tone to come from a place of self-development rather than even idea of thinking that you are helping someone. Why I'm helping someone? So definitely greater than you. That's why I'm helping. So the subtle ego can take over us at any time during the process of evolution. So it is very important that we should our language and tone and expression, and that is what you have been seeing. Now the another part comes that when your mood is upset, apply the wisdom to yourself first and check. When you are faced with a difficulty, apply the wisdom and check yourself. That will prove that really you are a seeker. You have an extreme headache and your mind says, I will not attend the session. First, apply the wisdom and then see what happens. Then see what happens. then that will check you. If you can apply the wisdom in times of the stress, you can definitely change the language and tone to express this wisdom to the others. Otherwise, did I miss any of these sessions in these 4 years? Wherever I am. So you see that idea, that intention, that aspiration helps you to continue to evolve in your life and makes your life happy and makes your life happy, peaceful. Not only that, but it makes your also. Now I will invoke, I want to ask a question. But before that, we discussed last time that we have five set of practices. What are those? Pranayama, pratyahara, the withdrawal of the senses and the mind from outside to inside. That was the second. Third was the viveka, the discernment. And the fourth was the japa. And the fifth was the meditation. So now the master has come down to explain to us that these five sets of practices are the main practices by which you can remove the delusion. So we discussed a little bit of pranayama. And in that topic, we also understood that the desire is the impurity of prana. Desire is the impurity of prana. How come? Did you contemplate on this? Did you contemplate? Just before the session, my mind was focused on that. So I had couple of the thoughts that will make you clear. First, how come the desire is the impurity of the prana? I'm just reading what you have written. It was revealed. So what is that? How come desire is the impurity of the prana in the mind? So it means there must be a very close relationship between the mind and the prana and the desire and the world outside, because I desire something in the world. So there are four aspects: mind, prana, desire, world. Now, what is the prana? Prana is the subtlest matter. Mind is the reflected consciousness. Prana manifest first. First manifestation of prana is the mind. Mind means the reflected consciousness. And that is why when we say my mind is crazy, I have lot of the thoughts. So that movement of that thought is because of the prana. Did you get it? Let me make you understand through the science also. What the science says: matter. Matter is what? Molecules, small particles. Then molecules further break it. We are going into a cause and effect. To break it, atom. Break the atom, electron, proton, and neutron. Break it. I'm not going into the photon and other particles, but ultimately we say it is energy. So energy is matter, matter is energy. What is prana? We say in our. So I'm just reflecting on some of the very deep principles explained in the Upanishad. So this is not the session to teach the Upanishad. So, so it means that prana is the subtlest matter. So there the science is confused. Where you have say quantum, what we did? I heard and read somewhere quantum healing. Huh? Those very words are there, quantum healing or something like that. But how can you have a healing if the energy is not conscious? So we have a solution. We say this energy, huh, the subtlest of this prana, first manifestation is the mind. And that mind is the subtlest, can reflect the consciousness. Did you get it? I believe so. So, because that energy is the first manifestation, is the mind, you may have a lot of questions. So, well, just keep it and contemplate and reflect. So, that energy, the first manifestation of that prana is the mind. And we always say mind is the reflected consciousness. And when the mind is reflected consciousness, and the energy means the movement and the change. So that is why we have millions of the thoughts are constantly chattering inside me. Did you get it? Look at the we have a problem and we will solve the problem logically by cause and effect, not by rationalizing. So once you have understood this, now take up the same question, how the desire is the impurity of the prana in the mind. Now that problem is solved. So desire is the impurity of the prana in the mind is solved. That puzzle is solved. What? The very first manifestation of the prana is the mind. Another master says, ancient, 10,000 years ago, those masters says there is a consciousness and there is a consciousness force. And that consciousness force is the prana. The first manifestation of the consciousness force is the mind. Now you see that we have solved uh, how the desire is the impurity of the prana, where the energy and the reflected consciousness is working together. Oh, I'm moving my fingers. Fingers are matter plus the reflected consciousness. It's a very gross level, physical level. So when we start understanding deeper, 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 we find, oh, the mind is the first manifestation of that consciousness force, which is known as the prana. And that is why the mind is constantly chattering. That is why we have lot of the thoughts, because of the presence of the prana. Did you get it? Say yes. Even if you don't understand, say yes. So we have got a solution. And now, so let us see the further involution, not evolution. Now, how that mind prana further involves itself and causes the entire world. So, the first manifestation you have understood. The second manifestation of the space in the throat region. First, it manifests as a mind here, then it manifests as a space in the throat region. And that space or akasha is the subtlest of the five elements. Now, that energy, prana, which is very subtlest, which was invisible, now gradually it is becoming visible. So, that is akasha. So we say Akasha is related to the sense of hearing and the power of speech. So we have a lot of thoughts about it. Now, further, the prana manifests as air or simply as air, or we say it vayu. Another manifestation of the prana in the heart region. Then what happens? Obviously, we say in the heart region the circulation of blood, nutrients, and oxygen. You see, we are aligning ourselves with the science. Manifestation of the fire. Fire means energy, that specific energy that helps me to digest and assimilate the food. So that manifestation of the fire in the navel region. Navel means the entire digestive system, metabolism, you can say. Manifestation. Now that manifestation of the prana in our sex organs as water. Don't take the water literally as H2O. Anything that is fluid has an ability to take the shape where it is present, has to do with the water. And there are other properties of the water. So I'm just briefly touching on when we say. So the water are associated with the reproductive system, manifestation of the earth in the base chakra, the Muladhara region. Muladhara region. Think of it. Think of it. So, did we understand? So, now we have to find a principle by which we can, what? But we can purify the mind. How to express that? You have already understood. Desire is the impurity of the prana in the mind, and that desire is causing the impurity in mind, but then it leads to the impure states of the mind. What are the impure states of the mind? Anxious mind, stressed mind, like and dislike mind, etc., etc., long listed. Uh, Reactive mind. So they are the impure states of the mind. And then I start living in the delusion. I have to hammer the delusion. And now the master is saying, practice pranayama. So we think that, oh, fire of breath or breath of fire is the pranayama we need to practice. We have been doing it for years together, but there is more impurity is there instead of impurity. So we have to understand it clearly. I'm just giving a glimpse of the teachings of the Upanishad here. I thought it better to bring it here, and then once we study the Upanishad, but the prana is a universal energy, it is all pervading. Understand that. Prana, prana, and I have already given you the manifestation of the prana in the body. Same way, you think the entire world is the body of that consciousness. So, where the same manifestation takes place in the similar way. So, it means the prana is all pervading. So, we have proved energy is everywhere, and we have proved that prana is all pervading. Are you clear? You blink your eyelids, you are listening to me. I'm speaking, I'm looking at you. It is all prana is present with the reflected consciousness, without which nothing can be achieved. Prana, movement, any change in the world, including the gravitational force, etc., according to the Eastern wisdom. Now, Now we come to one definition, one principle, the way. First, understand one master, great master, says that continuous practice of pranayama, uh, what happens? You can purify the mind completely. So, mind will become transparent, and that transparent mind will reflect the real self, which is experienced, and yes, I am the permanent peace and the happiness. That is what mm, I will take up. Shankaracharya was a great master. I will take his definition to make us understand. So, what the master says. Shankaracharya says pranayama is you negate the universe is the outgoing breath, and the incoming breath, your mind says, I am the real self. That is the real pranayama. And you think of every time your Breath goes inside. I told you the first manifestation of prana is the mind. So we are not imposing anything on the mind that, oh, we are not conditioning. Many people say, no, no, it means you are conditioning our mind that we are the real self. We are repeating it. No, we are repeating to realize that. So when the time comes, every incoming breath, every incoming breath results into an awareness that I am the real self. And every outgoing breath is the negation of the entire world of name and the form. You have just really you have dropped the delusion. Are you getting it? That is the real pranayama, Stephen. Did you understand it? Again, understand what he says that pranayama, we say breath control, yes, breath regulation, we say fire of breath or breath of fire, whatever you say, you want to say. So remember this. What to remember? The negation of the universe is the outgoing breath. When the breath is going out, mind is also going out, reflected consciousness. So that reflected consciousness have negated all of you are not different. It is the same one real self. And then the incoming breath, there is only one. I am the real self. That is the real pranayama. No, it doesn't mean that they are fake pranayama. They also helps us. We are already doing it. We are already doing those practices. So you cannot say they are fake. They are the primary practices. You can have thousands of breathing practices. Uh, you have thousands of breathing practices from tantra. In Hatha Yoga, you have only 8 or 9 pranayama. But in Tantra, you have more than 1,000 different practices of pranayama. And at last, they come to the same thing. Now you see, you spend 10 to 15 years in doing the pranayama, different pranayama. And especially in Hatha Yoga, the last pranayama, Murcha Kevali pranayama. So Kevali pranayama means the lonely. So people don't understand that lonely or Kevali pranayama. Kevali pranayama is the same thing what I am explaining to. So we keep on doing the pranayama before other practices. Oh, let me do the breathing. I can retain the breath for 2 minutes and 5 minutes and 10 minutes. No, it has nothing to do with the I believe. Did you understand? Say yes. I understand. Prana is the first manifestation of the prana is the mind. So it solves the problem of the science. When we say the quantum energy is matter. So you should have some consciousness there. So you cannot say quantum healing by quantum. No. So we have solved the problem. See that? So the first manifestation, but so it means it is the subtlest matter. That is why we say mind is the subtlest matter. And that subtlest matter has two things the reflected consciousness. I'm talking of the mind, not the prana. That reflected consciousness plus the energy. Do you see that is one reason why your mind, you wake up in the morning, or you are sleeping, or you are dreaming? Mind is always active. Mind is always active. Why it is active? Because of the prana. Because the father of the mind is. So now Now you see the reflected consciousness, or you simply say the mind. Mind looks at someone attractive, beautiful. So that mind has an element of attraction, likes, but the very movement of the mind from me to that object is because of the prana. That prana, desire, is the impurity of prana in the mind. Are you getting it? Did you understand it? Anytime, anywhere, where mind, ask your mind, where are you going? What you are thinking, and you will come to know the movement of the prana and the mind. Because my understanding helps me to get rid of the delusion. You're eating bread and the jam, and your mind says, mind says, cheesecake bread is very good. Now we have a cheesecake, especially bread. Do you see that? That is how this mind and the energy, mind and the prana works. You are looking at me. I should also have little bit of long beard so that I can start teaching. Don't think that way. You start teaching, but without beard also you can teach. So there are fair people who cannot have beard, who cannot grow beard. So you see, mind constantly chatters. So you become aware of that chattering of the mind to recognize the delusion part. And once you understand clearly, okay, desire is the impurity of the prana in the mind, you don't need to hold the breath, you don't need to breathe fast and deep. That is what we are doing. You can get rid of that impurity by understanding. That depends on what level of a seeker you are. But I'm warning you again, if you start teaching these principles like a teacher, you will prove yourself as a fool before those people whom you are teaching. You have to express yourself. Put yourself in the place of evolution. Remember my master's words. What is that? Once a seeker, always a seeker. Why always a seeker? Did I give you the answer? Do you still remember? So that real self is eternal, all pervading consciousness of the nature of permanent happiness, and the mind is limited. So I get an opportunity through the mind to express that real self as a process of my further evolution. And that is why once a seeker, always a seeker. Aha. So you see how challenging it is to remain as a seeker all the time. Yeah, remain as a seeker. Who will tell you that you are a teacher, you are a good teacher, they will appreciate you? Let them. But you remain as a seeker. Don't put yourself into the shoes of, oh, I'm a great teacher. That kind of a humility our masters have taught us, my friends. So first, one out of the five practices we have covered briefly. We will also understand that what is the origin of the prana, how the prana becomes the mind, where it becomes the mind, what is the location, and that these are the higher journey. So let us close your eyes and start our journey. Eyes are closed. Find out the place, position of the body, and position of the body, and being comfortable. I'm just putting you in the being comfortable. Yes. Then being carefree. You already know you all are seekers. I'll not explain how to be comfortable and how to be carefree. I have done this in 50 different ways in my previous sessions. And then being carefree. Very good. And now we will never leave. I missed that mantra. We will repeat that mantra. But सर्वेषां स्वस्तिर्भवतु सर्वेषां स्वस्तिर्भवतु सर्वेषां स्वस्तिर्भवतु. May there be happiness for all. You are thinking in your mind. You are thinking of the meaning in the mind. May there be happiness for all. And then you go to the knowledge. So, what is happening? There is a movement in the mind. This movement is much better, which makes you a seeker because you are moving from the knowledge to the knowledge. When you are moving from one thought of a desire to the other thought of a desire, you know the result. So, happiness is within me. Now you can compare and you can contemplate and reflect later. Oh, that is what you are talking about. Negation of the universe is the outgoing breath. Oh my God. And the incoming breath, I am the real self. You see how our masters have created these mantras. Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. Sarvesham. May there be peace for all. That is the meaning. But again, you reflect on the principle of what Shankaracharya says, and you will get the real meaning. Negation. So peace is everywhere. May there be peace for everyone. Now everyone is lost, only the peace is left. And peace in you and peace is everywhere. Sarvesham, Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu. May there be completeness. Completeness? Mind feels the completeness. Will the mind run after anything? No. Are we sure that it will not run after anything in the world? Yes. So what it is? It is the negation of the universe. Negation not in a negative way, reactive way, in an enlightened way. See that. That is another meaning. Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. May there be auspiciousness for all. So your mind one day will tell you, oh, why you are chanting this mantra? May there be auspiciousness everywhere for all. The mind will ask you, tell me where there is no auspiciousness. So when your own mind tells you, ask you this question, you should have a bigger smile on your face. You are already there. See that. That is what. So in the stage 2, look inside the forehead in the space, start chanting Om Shanti mentally, and then start breathing quick and short breath into the chest. Continue, quick and short breath, stillness in the body. I told you, you are remembering that. Continue breathing, quick and short breath, stillness in the body. Om Shanti continues. Where Om Shanti continues, deep inside the forehead in the space. Please continue. And you already know if there is any resistance, endure it, and your endurance converts into the joy of doing it. Joy of doing it becomes the joy of being. What is that state? It is the same state what I defined just now about the pranayama. So you are doing the breathing outwardly, but internally you are already realizing and experiencing that state. And that is the key to what? To a higher state of consciousness. Continue breathing, and you will say, now desire is the impurity of prana. So there is one desire here also. I don't want to do for a longer period. And so the mind creates a reaction, and that's why he said you have to endure resistance, endurance, joy of doing. Joy of being comes later. And now stop this breathing. Pay attention to the flow of the breath. Check whichever flow is less, pay more attention there. Why now you can really understand that why I ask you to pay attention to the flow of the breath, incoming and the outgoing breath without changing anything. And what exactly is the real pranayama? You do the fast breathing, you do the fire of breath or breath of fire, whatever it is. Ultimately, you allow the breath to calm down to move to the normal state. And if you cannot realize the incoming and the outgoing breath has this tendency, even if you are doing the breathing practices for 20 and 30 years, nothing can be achieved. Now, looking at again inside the forehead in the space, drop Om Shanti, drop Om Shanti, and you start breathing into the belly, the little longer breath. Longer breath into the belly, inhalation and exhalation is done from the belly. Longer breath, hissing sound, and continue breathing. So some may get a capacity, a strength to do the breathing for these kind of breathing for hours together. But they have to, and that is a good point, they have to bring that power to this knowledge. Long, deep, and the hissing breath, please continue. Again, the same principle, my friends. Resistance is there, you endure it. So your mind never for a second thinks, oh, I cannot do it. No, I'm doing it. Endurance. Because, I cannot do it. That too is the impurity of the mind. I believe you're getting it. Continue breathing. Long, deep, hissing breath into the belly. And you do not stop. Why you do not stop? Endurance. Why you continue? Joy of doing it. So you have to understand your own state of the mind on a given day. And stop this breathing. Pay attention to the flow of the breath again. Doing nothing, just awareness of the flow of the breath. That will help you understand that why I gave this step. Today we have clarified it. And now start breathing deep, silent, slow. As you inhale, I'm going directly into the nyasa. As you inhale, mind moving from the top center of the head into the spine, reaching to the tailbone, singing mentally, Shanti. And while breathing out, mind moves from the tailbone to the top of the head, saying Shanti. And now you can see closely with the Nyasa step. So I converted that definition into a step. Point one, you're breathing deep, silent, and slow. Point two, you're singing Om Shanti. Point three, that Om Shanti you're singing into the spine, just a symbolic with inhalation and exhalation. But let the time come when you need not to do any of these steps and we can experience the same state. Now leave this normal breath. Start dropping Om Shanti on the 16 segments of the fingers and see that prana appears very dominantly. You feel the tremendous energy or lightness or other experiences on these 16 segments of it. Shanti, Shanti. You're just dropping casually with awareness and attention. And you see that everything passes smoothly. Smoothly, that is another way to understand we are progressing. Now, the last step, move the mind inside the cave of your heart, equilateral triangle pointing upward, moving the mind on the triangle with Om Shanti, checking it is sinking. And if it is, then Om, saying Om, mentally pushing the mind deep inside the cave of your heart, the mind seemingly stops. And Shanti, and absorption, and doing nothing. Well, if the mind breaks that silence, you can go again to the triangle, find the rhythm, go back, and self absorption, doing nothing. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Bring your mind on the right hand, your mind on the left hand. Lift your Buddha palms, place it in your palm, place it in your eyes. Open the eyes inside the palms, know your experiences, bring the hands down. We will share our experiences now. How are you, Stephen?
Good, sir. Thank you. Um, sorry, I'm challenged with seasonal allergies. At least the body is challenged with the seasonal allergies. And throughout the lesson, um, as I'm listening to you and you talk about the prana, and I'm trying to create that separation between mind and body, and continuing to tell myself I'm not the body. And I had a little bit of a coughing fit during the lesson. But when we got to the actual practice, there was a distinct separation between my body and mind because I sat completely still with absolutely no issues, without resistance from start to finish. And it's not until now that it's starting to act up again. So I'm embracing and understanding the separation between the two.
Yes, that's a beautiful. In spite of any challenges outside, if we follow this journey, we know it can be done, it can be achieved in spite of those allergies. And if you are continuously doing it, the time comes these allergies will go away. Beautiful sharing. How are you, Brandy?
I'm fine, thanks. It took me a minute to get into the meditation, into the breathing specifically. So I circle back to the idea of endurance, which is definitely applicable beyond meditation right now. And as soon as I settled in, I was a very peaceful and smooth practice.
Yes, that's really good. Good experience. Yes, in the beginning, it is the objection of the mind. That is why we are not settled in the breathing in the beginning. So, yeah, the same thing. Desire is the impurity of the prana in the mind. How are you, David and Jerry?
Thank you, sir. The relationship between prana and yama sort of captured my attention through obviously the lesson, but also through the meditation. And I had this overwhelmingness of presence during the meditation at every aspect of it. So consequently, very peaceful and very quiet.
Yes, definitely. Once we have a clear understanding, the words I'm speaking, it has an element of reflected consciousness, which is the mind and the prana. I look at you, that too has both the participation of the both. Or simply we can say it is the subtlest manifestation of the prana where the consciousness can also reflect. It gives you such a beautiful state of the mind once we understand that. Beautiful. How are you, Jerry?
Sir, I'm good, thank you. The pearls for me were the once a seeker, always a seeker, and the idea that the mind is always limited. So therefore, once a seeker, always a seeker. And that brings the joy of every day, the opportunity to work on the mind.
Yeah, beautiful. Yes, because it is the mind which says that I want to realize the real self. Real self does not say I want to realize myself. And the mind is limited. To get rid of that limitedness and prevent the ego to take over, that is why Master said, once a seeker, always a seeker. It's a beautiful reflection on that. Thank you. How are you, Dennis?
Thank you. My meditation was calm and very silent. There was darkness, and at the end there was joy. Wanted to continue for a longer period. And I was also contemplating about this impurity of prana in the mind. And the way I explained it to myself is that prana is unconscious energy. And the consciousness that is reflected by the mind gives prana direction. And this direction has to do with its purity. If the
Yes.
direction is towards the illusory outer world, then it is impure. If the direction is towards its origin, the consciousness, then it is pure. But from there, the question arises, when you say that desire is the impurity of prana in the mind, does it apply only to the binding desire or to all desires?
All desires.
But what about the desire to know the real self? Is it also impurity of prana in the mind?
At a very higher level, you in the beginning we say it is the pure desire, but gradually when we recognize what I am, why I want to know who I am. Did you get it?
No.
Mind says in ignorance that know your real self. But now mind has known the real self, and after that it recognizes I am the real self. Why to know yourself?
So after all, there is nothing to know, nothing to
Nothing
know.
to know. So there is no desire at all. Nothing to know. You have to stay with me. My computer is totally not working. I have to ask you a couple of questions. You become my guru after the session. But anyhow, did you listen to Dennis? The way I'm solving all his puzzles. He has a lot of questions. Reflect, understand that what he says by listening to it, and then you may have couple of questions. Obviously we can raise those questions in our next session. How are you, Barbara?
I'm very good, thank you. I went into the meditation almost immediately, and I went through periods of calmness and it being very, very dark, to periods of brightness, and then dark again.
Very good. That, that obviously that darkness. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
And no, that was basically it. I mean, it ended up being very calm, beautiful.
Yeah, we should go into that darkness. Obviously, it is a blankness and there is nothingness. There is a sense of nothingness. So, that sense of nothingness also helps us to rise in consciousness. Beautiful. How are you, Christina?
Thank you. I think Dennis answered part of my question. Is it that the mind is a tool that we use to see the prana and which direction it's going to then return to a being mode almost?
Yeah,
Is that correct?
that's another beautiful way to express. Because once all the impurities of the prana or all the desires comes to an end, the whole existence comes to the being mode. It is not a becoming mode. Yes, you're right. And being mode is awakening. Being mode is awakening. Becoming mode is, we have to do a lot of things in the world outside. It's coupled with the desires, whether good or bad desires, and lot of stuff. But internally, when we live into that state, yeah, being mode is awakening mode. Very good. How are you, Vaibhav?
Thank you, sir. So practice was calm, it was quiet, and the understanding was it's similar to Dennis, like the prana is free and flowing, and what is in my mind, like if it is a desire, then the prana moves towards the desire. And if I have a desire like to get something, then the whole prana will go in that direction. If I
Yeah.
desire is to be free, like from the desires, then my prana will move into that direction, and it will be go in direction to be free from other things. So
Yeah.
that is the understanding.
So, yes, when there is no desires, where the prana will go? There is no desire for the earth except to continue to move around its axis. Sun has nothing to stay. Can you imagine that if sun has a slight desire and it moves even a single millimeter from its axis, what is going to happen? Dennis will explain you in physics. Earth moves from its axis even for a millimeter, what is going to happen? Everything is finished. The binding desire finishes everything, it causes the delusion. That is another way to say it. How are you, Terry? You are laughing.
I'm just enjoying the knowledge. And I'm fine.
You see, I'm not able to hear. My desktop computer is. But anyhow, next time. Oh, very good. Good. How are you, Sangeeta?
सर प्रैक्टिस बहुत अच्छी थी और जो आपने बताया कि इनहेल करते हुए आई एम द कॉन्शियसनेस और एक्सहेल करते हुए देयर इज संसार कुछ नहीं है वो वैसा
I
किया
heard
तो
only
अच्छा
that
लगा वो।
practices was very good. Very good. Ashok, what you are thinking?
Nothing. Namaste, sir. Sir, I am good, peace, and calm. And I understand that if we don't have any desire, then the prana will be at rest, and that is the meditation.
Yeah. From today, you should not have any desire.
ठीक है सर
Huh?
एक
Your
desire तो है एक
honey
desire है
says,
आपके पास आने
honey
की
says, go to the market, buy the vegetables. No, I don't have any desire. Why should I go?
फिर तो जीना मुश्किल हो जाएगा।
Now he says it will be very difficult. So
नहीं, जो एक्शन है सर, जो करता, जो मतलब काम करने वो तो करना ही है, तो उसमें
you
ठीक
have
है,
to
अपने आप हो रहे हैं तो हो रहे हैं, ठीक है।
you have to, yes, yes, yes. So that is all for today. Thank you very
सर थैंक
much.
यू सो मच, थैंक यू एवरीवन, नमस्ते
Thank you.
एवरीवन।
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank
Namaste.
you.
Namaste.
So stop recording.